everyone, it's Thomas from Curvo. So how much can you save every single month? It's an important question, and in this video, we're going to look at the 4-step process that's going to help you answer that question and also invest with confidence. So the simple equation that we want to solve is the savings rate equals income minus expenses. It's a pretty easy formula, but few people know the answer because figuring out the two unknowns, your income and your expenses, is not that straightforward. Yes, it's crucial to know how much you can safely invest every month, but you don't want to invest too much because you could actually be forced to sell part of your investments if you find yourself in a financial pickle. But also don't want to invest too little because the money you actually leave in your savings account is actually going to be eaten by inflation. So we want to help you solve this equation, and I'm going to use my Curvo co-founder and friend Yoran and his actual financial situation as an example. So Yoran, he's 32 years old, he works as a freelancer, he's an entrepreneur, and he resides in Brussels. He owns a car, and he also enjoys traveling and going out in his spare time. So here's the 4-step process. Step 1, determine your income. Step 2, estimate your expenses. Step 3, calculate the value of your emergency fund. And the last step, step 4, know how much is safe to invest every month. So the first and easiest step in the process is determining your income. So Yoran's net income is 3,333 euros per month. So increasing your income is obviously one way to raise your savings rate. But as we know, it's not that easy. So to increase your savings rate, it's actually easier to control how much you spend than actual getting a raise. So let's dig into the hardest part of the exercise, figuring out your expenses. So how much do you actually spend every month? So Yoran tracked his spending for about 3 months, and he learned a lot about his actual financial life and situation. He categorized each expense: groceries, travel, rent, eating out, gifts. Some banks like Revolut and N26, they offer really good tracking through their mobile apps. Otherwise, you're really going to have to keep a manual tracking system using a spreadsheet. But once you know how much you actually spend monthly, you can really start to calculate your savings rate by subtracting the expenses from your overall income. So you can actually increase your savings rate by either increasing your income or actually just lowering your expenses. Of the two, it's probably going to be a lot easier to reduce your expenses. A great benefit of this whole exercise is that actually it's going to give you insights into reducing your spending. So figure out what expenditures are super important to you and try to reduce spending money on things that don't actually add anything to your life. So, while you're doing this, maybe you'll discover you're spending a lot on eating out. If you could take it or leave it, we'd suggest reducing those restaurant outings. Otherwise, if you really enjoy going out and you're quite the food lover, you may actually want to reduce spending in another category like going out and drinking. But the peace of mind of an emergency fund is really important because before you invest your savings, it makes sense to set up this fund. Its purpose is to provide a safety net in case of unexpected events. So for example, you lose your job, your car breaks down, it's a really costly repair, there's a leak in your house and the plumbing needs an overhaul, etc. Without an emergency fund to tap into, such events can force you to take out a loan at a pretty poor interest rate. So avoiding debt is one of the first rules of responsible financial planning. The emergency funds should, they say, cover around 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Obviously with Yoran, he's an entrepreneur, he feels his status is a little more risky than a full-time employment, so he has an emergency fund of 6 months. It's important he doesn't invest any of that money so that he can actually access it whenever he likes in order to help him in an emergency. So once you have your fund set up, big congrats. You can actually now enjoy some peace of mind that comes with it. By going through the 4-step process, Yoran actually calculated that he can safely invest 300 euros every single month with Curvo. He set up an automatic monthly contribution in the Curvo app, meaning that 300 euros is automatically debited from his bank account and it's invested into his portfolio at the start of every single month. He knows that the power of compounding will allow his portfolio to grow to a large sum over the long term. We actually did a spreadsheet. You can actually make a copy of Yoran's savings rate. You can actually go through the 4-step process yourself. On the spreadsheet, you can actually add all of your expenses, like eating out, travel, sports, and then add in your income. And so we know that going through this process and tracking your expenses for a few months can seem a little bit tedious, but it's actually a crucial step in determining how much you can safely invest every single month. The insights you're actually going to gain is actually going to help you better understand and also control your finances. Warren Buffett, obviously one of the most successful investors of the last 50 years, he sums it up nicely. Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. And because of the power of compounding, it really does make sense to start your journey with monthly contributions on the right track. Then once you have everything set up, you can really sit back, relax, and watch it as it grows, and so you can retire on your own terms. So thanks for watching. I'm Thomas. Hit that like and hit that subscribe button. Also leave a comment with how you're tracking your expenses. I'd love to learn what kind of apps people are using. All right, speak to you next time. Thank you.